Okay, we will continue once. Okay, so as we know that the various advantages of transmitting the electrical power with the high voltages, we have seen that the three principal advantages. Okay, so out of that, some limitation will be come into the picture when the electrical power is transmitted with the high voltages. Okay, so first limitation is what? The increased cost of insulating materials. Okay, insulating the conductors. Okay, so we have, if we transfer the electrical power with the high voltages, we have to um take care about the insulation. Okay, high grade insulation should be used. Okay, uh, recently one workshop is conducted by the ISC Bangalore, advances in transmission line insulator. Okay, so the into that he has explained so many types of insulating materials required. Okay, and their chemical composition and their electrical properties and their mechanical chemical properties are discussed. Okay, so if we increase the voltage level, we have to take care about the insulation. Okay, so insulate that conductors, we have to use the high level insulating materials. For that one we have to pay the more money. Okay, so this one is the first limitation. Okay, increased cost of insulation for insulation purpose. Okay, the increased cost of transformers, switch gears, and other terminal apparatus. Okay, since our electrical system is operated with high voltage, there should be use of uh, large transformers, means what their rating power ratings in thousands of kVA. Okay, so for this purpose we have to manufacture a transformer which is able to do that one. Okay, by stepping and step down, that should be done by that transformer. It will be uh, a very, we can say that, dangerous task, and that type of insulation should be provided in case of the transformer. And we have to take the precaution while doing their findings and all, and their cooling system we have to take care about that one. Okay, so switch gear devices are there. Okay, to for the protection purpose. Okay, or to minimize the fault situation. So based on that voltage level we have to select the switch gears. Okay, so those switch gear which will be operates with the high voltage levels, they are very costlier. Okay, and their manufacturing is also a highly expensive. Okay, so this will increases the cost of installation. And other terminal apparatus like a surge arrestor and lightning arrestor, wave traps, and other protecting devices like metering instrument, harmonics reducer, we can say that harmonic analyzer, and afterwards terminal equipments, means what? PLCs, SCADA systems, which is used for the control of electrical power transfer. Okay, so there is a limit to higher transmission voltage. This limit is reached when the saving in cost of conductor material due to higher voltage is offset by the increased cost of insulation, transformer, and switchgear. Okay, means what? Finally we can say that if the transmission voltage is higher one, we will increase the cost of insulation and transformer and switchgear devices. Okay, so this is what the disadvantage, or we can say that limitation of transmitting the electrical power with the high voltages. Okay, from the above analysis, the following conclusion can be drawn. Okay, so for a particular value of power, that is what active power, there is a one value of conductor cross section and one value for the voltage, which gives the minimum total cost per unit length per unit power. Okay, means what? For the specific amount of electrical power has to be transferred, means what? We have to take care about the area of, sorry, cross sectional area of conductor, value for the voltage. Okay, and current flowing through the conductors we have to keep in mind for that particular power transfer. Okay, Means what? Totally the area cross section of conductor and volume of conducting material required and the current flowing through the conducting material required, it is totally depends upon the active power which is to be transmitted. Okay, so we have to select such a conductor with the minimum cost per unit length per unit power transfer. Okay, while uh, choosing the area cross section of conductors, we have to choose in such way that it should be a minimum total cost per unit length of per unit electrical power transfer. Okay, next, with the increase in power, the economic values of the conductor cross section and voltage increases in proportion to root P. Root P means what? With the increase in power, the economic values of the conductor cross section, it will increases in root 2 P times. Okay, sorry, root P times. Means what? Suppose in first case the volume of conducting material required, in the first case, suppose power it will be transferred, suppose 100 watt. Okay, just consider it as P is equal to 100 watt for the first case. In second case, uh, or first case, we have to consider the volume of area cross section of conducting material required. Suppose 4 meter square. Okay, and the voltage will be, suppose we can say that we can consider it as 11 kV. Suppose simply for example purpose, okay, we consider it as. So in next case, if we want to transmit the electrical power, how should be the area cross section and voltage we have to choose for the particular power transfer. Okay, so in next case, suppose it will be a 49 watt. Okay, so area cross section and voltage should be selected on the basis of root P times. Okay, means what? The another parameters will be changed by default. If it is the power transfer will be changed. Okay, the above simplified analysis also confirms that a very limited number of voltage levels with an appropriate value of conductor cross section may be used in a system without deviating too far from the optimum values. Okay, the voltage level practically can be taken from the table in the next slide. I think this table is not mentioned. Yes, mentioned. Okay, so in practice, it is possible to determine the economic optimum voltage for the lines more than 30 km long using the following empirical formula. Okay, am I audible? Because this is very important. Yes, yes, am I audible? Yes.
Yes.
So see over here, the empirical formula for the line voltage which is to be taken for the 30 km long or more than 30 km long transmission line. Okay, so see over here, the load in kVA means what? Already by um, studying the load curve and all, we have already known that the maximum power has to be transmitted to the load or the load demand. We know that, suppose it is in kVA. Okay, apparent power should be there. Okay, and length of transmission line will be in kilometer. We have to already know that. Means what? We can directly guess about the what amount of voltage has to be used to transmit the electrical power from one station to another station based on the total power or the uh, distance of transmission line. Okay, so see over here, the 5.5 into under root of um, length of transmission line in kilometer divided by 1.6 plus load in kVA divided by 150. Okay, so see over here, the voltage normally adopted for transmissions are given below. Okay, so distance in kilometer 15 into 30 km means what? Just we have to put the value instead of the kilometer we have to put 30 or 15, okay, and load in kVA. Based on the load rating, we have to just put their value, okay. So generally adopted voltage or normally adopted voltage for the particular length of transmission line, okay. So see over here, for the 15 to 30 kilometer distance, we generally use just the 11 kilovolt, okay. For 30 to 60 kilometers, it will be a 33 kilovolt, okay. And for the 60 to 100 kilometer, 66 kilovolt will be used as a transmission line voltage, okay. 100 to 200, 130 to 132 kilovolt, okay. 200 to 300, 220 kilovolt, and 300 to 400, 400 kilovolt will be considered, okay. Means what, based on the load kVA rating and length of transmission line, we can directly find the what amount of voltage which is used for that particular transfer of electrical power over a x kilometer distance, okay. Means what, indirectly, if we know that the length of transmission line and apparent power or the total power has to be transmitted to the load, that or these two things are known, means one directly we can find out the what amount of voltage level should be uh, achieved at the transmission substation, okay, in order to transmit the electrical power up to a load end, okay. So remember this formula, this is empirical formula, means what, for the uh, all over the world we can use it, okay. Once we know the total amount of power has to be transmitted and length of transmission line in kilometer, okay. If it is meter, we can convert it into kilometer, no problem. It will be mile, it will be converted into kilometer, okay. 2.27 kilometer is nothing but the 1 miles, okay. So we can, so these are the various advantages of transmission lines, okay. AC transmission, the power can be generated at high voltage, okay. The maintenance of AC substation is easy and cheaper. The AC voltage can be stepped up or the stepped down by transformers, okay. Over the DC transmission, these are the various advantages, okay. What are the disadvantages of the AC transmission? Requires more copper than DC. Why it so, means what we will see, okay. Or by comparing this volume of conducting material required for the two wire DC system with one conductor earthed, okay, it will be directly found that uh, volume of conducting material required for the AC system is more than that of the DC, okay. Means what, indirectly it requires the more copper or indirectly it requires the more aluminium, okay, than the DC. Due to skin effect in the AC system, the effective resistance of the line is increased, okay. As I said earlier or in the first lecture, the skin effect is come into the picture only AC transmission, okay. In that case, the core part or the central part of the solid conductor, it will act as a highly resistive material, highly resistance, okay. And it compared to its a periphery or its a surface or its a skin, okay. That's why the total current will concentrate along the periphery or the surface of the conductor instead of flowing through the core or the central part of the conductor, okay. That's why the effective resistance of the line is increased, okay. uh, AC line has capacitance, therefore there is a continuous loss of power due to the charging current even when the line is open, okay. In order to charge that line capacitance, somewhat current will flows through the line with, even though there is a no load on the system, okay, for the charging purpose. So AC, in case of AC transmission, the line capacitance will be come into the picture, okay. So this is the all about of the fourth unit, okay. So by referring the PowerPoint presentation which is already uploaded in Google Drive link, okay. So see over here the what are the various differentiating point between the overhead line and underground line, okay, or the underground cables. By referring that one, we will come to know, okay, this is all the theoretical points. Okay, file location, initial cost, useful life. Okay, we will discuss in next lecture. Okay, so today we will stop over here. I think time is left, 3 4 minutes are left. Okay, so I think this part is clear, all of you. Okay, anyone having doubt, tell me. Yes. Yes. So my humble request to one and all, you should go through the PowerPoint presentation for the fourth unit, which is already available on your Google Drive link. Okay, and go through the DC supply scheme with their various formulas. Okay, and AC supply scheme with various formulas and compare them. Okay, I have one comparative sheet for, I will show you. Wait, just wait. Is it visible? Yes.
Yes, sir.
So see over here, I have compared all 10 supply scheme. Okay. Firstly, I have given over here the DC supply scheme, and then AC supply scheme. Okay. So by referring this chart, we can easily find the difference between the DC supply scheme and the AC supply scheme. Okay, so see over here in the first, how to read this chart. Okay, so name of supply scheme is what? Two wire DC system with one conductor or thread. Okay, diagram I have given over here for the reference purpose. Load current, how it will be found, I have mentioned over here. Okay, inline losses and area cross section commonly we can found, and volume of conductor required. Okay, so we have to read this horizontally. Okay, we will get the idea for the important formulas for the load current, line losses, area cross section, and volume of conductor. Okay, firstly the DC supply scheme is there, and then AC supply scheme. Okay, so single phase two wire AC system with one conductor earth. Okay, so see over here for this one, load current, area cross section, and volume of conducting material required. These are the various desired formula for this particular system. Okay, by referring this chart, we can summarize, or we can uh, see at a glance whole fourth unit by seeing this chart. Okay, this will be available on Google Drive. You can refer this one for your uh, study. Okay, I have compared all 10 supply scheme. Okay, 3 for the DC and 7 for the AC. Okay, so refer this one for your study purpose. Okay, so today we will stop over here. Thank you for one and all. Okay, thank you.